and welcome our blood viewers to RTD's English Edition News. To begin our news today, let's head with the headlines. Official launch of the National Health Development Plan, NHDP, for the period of 2025-2030. And for the international scene, establishment of an international alliance to support the Palestinian Authority, Saudi Arabia. Welcome back to our newsroom. Chaired by the Minister of Health, Dr. Ahmed Robli Abdillah, ceremony was held yesterday morning at the Sheraton Hotel to officially launch the National Health Development Plan for the period 2025-2030. The event was attended by the World Health Organization representative in Djibouti and the acting representative of the United Nations Children's Fund, alongside a large number of technical and financial partners, a reaffirmation of collective commitment to support and strengthen the health sector. Speeches delivered at the occasion outlined the principal features of this strategic plan, which aims to secure a better standard of health for all citizens and to accelerate efforts towards achieving universal health coverage, in alignment with Djibouti Vision 2035 and the Sustainable Development Goals. The plan seeks to reduce mortality, disease and malnutrition, strengthen the pillars of health system at all levels, improve service quality, and expand direct impact interventions. It also establishes a rigorous framework for monitoring performance and evaluating results to ensure transparency and accountability. The launch of the National Health Development Plan 2025-2030 marks a pivotal point in our commitment to building a fairer, more resilient, and more efficient health system. The World Health Organization representative in Djibouti affirmed that the National Health Development Plan 2025-2030 embodies a clear and comprehensive vision for strengthening the country's health system. She stated that WHO stands with the government to support the implementation of this ambitious plan, ensuring that every citizen, particularly the most vulnerable groups, can access high-quality care founded on equity and sustainability. In his remarks, the Minister of Health praised the efforts and supports of international partners and national stakeholders while recognizing the ongoing challenges faced by the sector, notably epidemics and non-communicable diseases. The Minister expressed his pleasure at being among participants to hear the evaluation of the previous National Health Plan 2024 and to witness the launch of the new 2025-2030 plan, thanking everyone for their attention and commitment to the future of health in Djibouti. Yesterday morning, the Idris Farah Abani National Police Academy hosted an official certificate presentation ceremony marking the conclusion of a specialized training course for future officers in leadership of rescue operations and direction of medical rescue. The ceremony brought together prominent figures including the Director General of Civil Defense, Colonel Mahmoud Musa Mahmoud, the General Secretary of the Ministry of Interior, and the Colonel Rafael Guerro, the Secretary Attaché at the French Embassy in Djibouti, and other senior officials. The course ran for 3 weeks under the supervision of French experts from the Paris Fire Brigade and the Marseille Marine Firefighters, together with the teaching staff of the International Higher School of Civil Protection. Participants who came from 12 African countries followed an intensive program centered on coordinating relief operations during crisis, managing emergencies, medical cases, and practical planning to strengthen civil protection capacities across the continent, enabling them to confront security and humanitarian challenges more effectively. The ceremony concluded with the official presentation of certificates to the trainees amid celebratory applause from attendees and training staff. Colonel Raphael, with the official, he marked the ongoing and close cooperation between Djibouti and France in the field of security training and civil protection, noting that this initiative constitutes an important step to strengthen personnel capacities and guarantee readiness for various emergencies. For his part, the Secretary General of the Ministry of the Interior expressed his pride in addressing participants at yesterday's certificate ceremony for trainees who completed training in leadership of relief operations, emergencies, medical management. In response to repeated climatic challenges affecting the country, the National Agency for Social Development, in cooperation with the Djibouti Red Crescent Society, had signed a strategic partnership to bolster local communities' resilience to crisis. Let's hear
Faced with the repeated climate shocks hitting the country, the Djibouti Social Development Agency and the Djibouti Red Crescent have formed a strategic partnership funded with the 50 million francs from the World Bank. This ambitious program has a clear objective to equip urban and rural communities to become the primary actor in their own resilience in the face of crisis. This initiative, which is part of emergency social protection and food crisis, this initiative, which is part of the emergency social protection and food crisis response project, marks a paradigm shift. It is no longer simply a matter of distributing emergency aid, but rather of providing population with the knowledge and skills to anticipate shocks and respond effectively. It aims to sustainably strengthen community capacity by training them in first aid, waters, and food resources management during a crisis and developing emergency plans to build a true culture of resilience. The initiative began at the end of October 2024, based on a rigorous and participatory methodology. The first step consisted of conducting a participatory risks analysis in each targeting locality, sitting under a palaver in a community center. Resident, with the support of ADDS and Red Crescent teams, self-identified the specific hazard to which they were exposed, whether flooding, drought, or food insecurity, assessed their vulnerability to measure their ability to cope. Based on this analysis, a practical training manual was designed by an expert in close consultation with all local stakeholders. Far from being a generic theoretical document, this guide is adapted to the realities and levels of understanding of each community. It will incorporate crucial information on disaster prevention, preparedness, and response. The core of the project lies in the organizations of intensive training workshops. This session is intended for the general public, community leaders, first responders, and local elected officials. Will cover a wide range of skills to transform theory into reflexes. The project plans to regularly organize practical exercises and file simulations. This near real-life scenario will allow emergencies plan to be tested, actions to be coordinated, and community responsiveness to be assessed. This program is therefore timely for a population affected by the combined effects of persistent drought, the fallout from regional conflict, and rising food and fuel prices. By equipping community with practical tools to cope with crisis, the ADDS and CRD are not only preparing for the next disaster, they are helping to build today a safer and more resilient future for all.
Yesterday morning, Thursday, the Balbala municipality, led by the mayor, Mr. Mohammed Hassan, held the third and fourth session of its municipal council with the attendance of Mr. Mohammed Amin, mayor of Blaos, and all municipal council members. The session were attended by the General Director of the National Institute of Public Health and Health Training, Dr. Maad Nasser Mohammed, who expressed his institution's full commitment to cooperate with local elected officials and emphasized the institute's vital role in supporting public health campaigns, notably mosquito control operations through targeted spraying. During these sessions, council members discussed multiple issues affecting residents, with particular focus on public health, sanitation, and sewage. The meetings opened new prospects for cooperation between institutions aimed at improving the quality of life of Balbala's residents and strengthening local initiatives to prevent mosquito-borne diseases. These two sessions represent an important step in reinforcing dialogue and coordination between elected officials, health institutions, and local partners to build a healthier, more cohesive municipality. And of course, the mayor of Balbala welcomed citizens to the opening of the extraordinary fourth session, stating that this session is not a routine opening but a start of a new cycle intended to restore strategic positioning. The African Union Chief Executive, Mr. Mahmoud Ali Yusuf, presented a comprehensive plan during a Peace and Security Council meeting on the sidelines of the 80th United Nations General Assembly in New York. More details with Mohammed Adan.
Person present a three-point plan to strengthen conflict prevention in Africa. The chairperson of the African Union Commission, Mahmoud Ali Yusuf, addressed the AU Peace and Security Council on Wednesday on the sidelines of the 18th United Nations General Assembly in New York, presenting a comprehensive strategy to address the continent's security challenges. Mr. Yusuf expressed his gratitude to Angolan President João Lourenço for convening The high-level meeting on the theme Reinvigorating Conflict Prevention and Resolution in Africa, emphasizing that this theme reflects Africa's shared responsibility in maintaining peace and security. The chairperson painted a grim picture of the current security situation on the continent, highlighting persistent conflict, growing interstate tensions, and the alarming rise in violent extremism. He further drew attention to what he described as a decline in resources devoted to crisis management and a worrying erosion of international solidarity. In response to these challenges, Mr. Yusuf outlined three key priorities aimed at strengthening the peace and security architecture in Africa. First, regarding anticipations, he called for the strengthening of early warning systems through the integrations of artificial intelligence and big data analytics. Second, regarding crisis management, the President proposed comprehensive reforms of the African standby forces with a particular emphasize on strengthening its police and civilian components. Third, regarding structural prevention, Mr. Yusuf emphasized the need to strengthen the capacity of member states through the development of independent national peace security infrastructure by modernizing Africa's peace and security architecture and fostering collective leadership. He stressed we can chart a path towards a more peaceful and prosperous Africa.
African countries addressed the United Nations General Assembly this week calling for more inclusive development, fair trade, and meaningful participation in global negotiations. The President of the Republic of the Congo described Africa as the continent of the future, calling a reform for the UN Security Council, while the President of the Central African Republic stressed the importance of strong partnerships and of using development as a tool for peace and poverty eradication. This week, African countries are speaking at the United Nations General Assembly. They are calling for more inclusive development, fairer trade, and a real place in global negotiations. Muhammad Adan.
Uganda launched its ambitious project to strengthen digital transformation in the partnership with the International Telecommunication Union. The Ugandan government has announced the launch of a joint project with the International Telecommunication Union to strengthen digital transformation in the country. This strategic initiative aims to propel Uganda towards a developed and sustainable knowledge economy. This project is a veritable springboard for the development of digital infrastructure and improved access to digital services for all citizens, thus contributing to greater inclusion in the digital economy. This project comes at a time when the world is experiencing an unprecedented acceleration of technological innovation, making investment in digital infrastructure and strengthening the skills of young people essential to ensure their active participation in the global economy. The project is expected to provide Ugandan youth with advanced educational opportunities through training programs and technology workshops focused on developing their digital skills, thus preparing them for the job market and giving them the ability to compete in the field of technology and innovation. Through this project, Uganda reaffirms its commitment to developing a sustainable digital environment, providing everyone, and especially young people, with the opportunity to benefit from new digital opportunities and actively contribute to sustainable and inclusive economic growth.
Saudi Arabia announced the creation of an international alliance to support and finance the Palestinian Authority as part of its efforts to bolster economic and political stability in the Palestinian territories and to ensure that its institutions can continue to provide basic service to the Palestinian people. The kingdom said it will contribute an initial $19 million to the alliance and that this initiative will seek to mobilize other donor countries to entities to ensure financial sustainability. US President Donald Trump stated that he will not allow Israel to annex the West Bank and predicted that an agreement on the Gaza war and prisoner exchange would be reached out soon.
Promises to prevent Israel from annexing the West Bank and plans a Gaza deal while Spain considered a third armed deal with Tel Aviv. US President Donald Trump has assured that he will not allow Israel to strengthen its occupation of the West Bank while predicting the imminent conclusions of an agreement on the Gaza war and a prisoner exchange. Speaking in the Oval Office on Thursday, Trump declared that will not allow Israel to annex the West Bank, adding firmly that will not happen. His remarks followed a question from a reporter who asked him if he had promised Arab and Muslim leaders meeting Tuesday on the sidelines of the United Nations General Assembly in New York that he would oppose any Israeli annexations of the West Bank. Also asked about a possible warning to Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, who is being prosecuted by International Criminal Court against such a measure, Trump replied, "Whether I have spoken to him about it or not, I have, but I will not allow Israel to annex the West Bank." He concluded by stating, "It's time to stop now." Meanwhile, the Israeli Daily Haaretz revealed that Spain had just conceded a third arms contract with Israel worth €207 million just 2 days after the entry into forces of a law banning all arms trade with the Jewish state amid what has been described as a genocidal war in the Gaza Strip.
And last but not least, the diplomatic world warned in September 2025 of a worsening plastic crisis, pointing to more than 6 billion tons of accumulated plastic waste worldwide and annual production reaching 430 million tons, with the pollution flowing into the oceans at a rate equivalent to one truckload every minute. The magazine warns that production could triple by 2060, absent a binding international treaty. Well, but these are blood viewers. We finally conclude this edition. Thank you for being with us, and make sure to tune in later for more as usual. Have a wonderful evening and take care. Thank you.